Hello, and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. I have a survey map that I'd like to show you here, and as a starting point. This survey map was done quite a long while ago, 1793, and it was done by George Washington after he had finished his presidency. Now, this map shows Mount Vernon, and that is usually the place we think of is Mount Vernon. And Mount Vernon, that building is right here. There's a roadway around that perimeter of the area there, and it comes on up and connects with other roads. This road could connect here and lead to Washington, D.C. This river is the Potomac, and as you can see, there's certain feeder streams and things that lead into it. That's north, and this was an early interest that George had. He had a lot of early interests, and one of them was surveying. He did it at different times in his life. Now, this estate really is composed of 5 farms. The farm that's around Mount Vernon, but there's a Union farm. There's another farm here called Dugu Farm, and one over here called River Farm, and one called Mudhole Farm. Now, what the reference refers to is a bit muddy in my imagination. These areas are forested areas, and sometimes inside these farm areas there's a forested area. Sometimes, certainly outside, where the farm goes up to that point, and it's this area that he recorded the number of acres in. He was very specific about it, and if you total up all 5 farms, you get a total acreage of 3,260 acres. Now that's so I think in terms of an acre being big, well, 3,260 acres is quite extensive. Of course, when he was growing up there, they may not have completely developed those farms. They came along over a period of time when, as they managed to purchase and add to their farm. It's said to have had a fantastic view of the Potomac, and I can see how from here you could look right straight down, see the river, the bend, and maybe not as easy from the front porch, but you could stand there and see a ways this way as well. quite something. I was always, I was impressed. And now, here's a book called The Christmas Reader. It's edited by Godfrey Smith, and I looked it up on Amazon. It is available used at around $10. The people that wrote in about it all praised it highly. And I'll add my praise to it because it's such a rich feast of all kinds of things one might not come across. And here is a feast. This is a Christmas dinner at Mount Vernon. George and Martha Washington. It's very mathematically set out, whereas there's a long phrase, or they can squeeze in two. I don't think, oh, here they've got 4 different things, and here 3. It's just got an interesting balance to it. An onion soup called the King's Soup. An interesting phrase. That when George married Martha, Martha came to live there, but she came from a quite wealthy family, and maybe that's how they expanded. I don't know. There's lots of things I don't know. You've noticed that probably. Oysters in the half shell. So start with a little onion soup. And grilled salt roe herring, a boiled rockfish, roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, mutton chops, roast suckling pig, roast turkey with chestnut stuffing, round of cold boiled beef with horseradish sauce, cold baked Virginia ham, lima beans, baked acorn squash, well, of course it would be Virginia ham, baked celery with slivered almonds, hominy pudding, candied sweet potatoes, cantaloupe pickle, spiced peaches in brandy, spiced cranberries, mince meat pie, apple pie, cherry pie, chess tarts, blancmange, plum in white jelly, snowballs, Indian pudding, great cake, ice cream, plum pudding, fruits, nuts, raisins, port Madeira. And I thought to myself, whoa, now, are they having lots of company? I mean, that's quite a spread. And I got thinking, if it was really just George and Martha putting this on, that that would pose quite a stress on them. But they had slaves, and some were been doing cooking for them for years and had talents with preparing different dishes. Now, I want to jump from that era to relatively more recent times. This book is called Spring in Washington, Washington, D.C., not the state of Washington, with a foreword by Roger Torrey Peterson and drawings by Francis Lee Jacques. Louis J. Haley. And I saw it as a used book in a window once, and I thought, spring in Washington. I saw all the birds, and I thought, didn't know anything about it. I said, could I have a look at that book? And they got it out of the window, and they shared it with me. And, well, it's quite a journey. We're traveling now 200 years plus. To me, the bicycle is in many ways a more satisfactory invention than the automobile. I thought, well, that's quite a statement. It is consonant with the independence of man because it works under his own power entirely. There is no combustion of some petroleum product from Venezuela to set the pedals going. Purely mechanical instruments like watches and bicycles are to be preferred to engines that depend on the purchase of power from foreign sources. Now he's talking about watches in the time 1947 was the first printing, and of course now there's little batteries that can fit in those watches, and you can get even seconds and all. You can be more independent. That's meaning that you don't have to rely upon oil from Venezuela, some petroleum products, and therefore more of a man in a sailing vessel than in a power-driven boat. Okay. In the former, you can still keep going if the national or international economy breaks down. So he's making an argument here. You need not trouble yourself about legislative enactments for the exchange of goods and services, about international treaty arrangements for which your life is hostage. The price of power, on the other hand, is enslavement. So I was just thinking about slaves, and here he's suggesting a different kind of enslavement that doesn't really care what color your skin is. So because you move under your own power, bicycling is to be compared rather to walking than to automobiling. By this standard, the ease and speed which you encompass great distances seems miraculous. In an hour on the way to work, I've covered 10 or 12 miles. Well, that is quite an amount, more than walking could do. Gone clean out of the city within an hour, to look for signs of spring and come back into its untired and, in fact, refreshed from the day's work, for the day's work. In 4 or 5 hours of a Sunday, I have covered 50 miles visiting strange lands in Virginia or Maryland. Well, yes, it gives you an access to different elevations, different vegetation maybe, and being a bird watcher like he was, maybe different birds. It says, though the Lord created the world in 7 days, its annual recreation takes longer. Annual, that's right. You've got to go through late winter, early spring, through the seasons. And in the week following January 28th, the temperature remained in the teens. The next Sunday, February 4th, a slight breeze came from the south, and again the morning sun shone through a haze until midday. The afternoon brought rain, sleet, and hail from a darkened sky. I know some days here we get this seemingly various seasons all put together in a 24-hour period. I bicycled south down the river to meet the spring. This was not altogether quixotic, for there are birds wintering at Mount Vernon that would not arrive in Washington until the spring migration brought them. Towhees, red-bellied woodpeckers, and field sparrows. So you could see all these in February in Mount Vernon, which isn't that far south. They were towing the mark. In the blackened marshes between the airport and Alexandria, a flock of red-winged blackbirds were clearing their pipes, but not yet singing. A flock of female redwings, not even clucking, landed in a tree by Roach's Run. At one point, a song sparrow sang lustily. The 41 species of birds counted that day, however, represented the wintering population, the base of departure from which we might measure the expected change of season. So now they have a baseline, 41 birds, and this is the ones that, so now let's go and work from that and see just what does range through this territory. It's fascinating. Now, I have one other little passage from this I want to read to you. To an amazing degree, people's environment has come to consist of machines and man-made things, much as the environment of animals is made up of natural objects and growing things. I quote from the findings of the Harvard Committee appointed to study the problem of general education in a free society, and which reported on the increasing difficulty of educating men for the universe. I've looked through the Washington newspapers in season without finding any account of the arrival of ducks or the visitation of gulls, although they reported on the visit of a French functionary and the return from her wintering grounds in the south of somebody's wife. So, in other words, he's sort of saying, natural life just doesn't seem to be fascinating enough for something to share. It was all news of the hive, the mass of people in the city with not a word of events in the outside world, meaning the natural world. The magazines for sale on the stands and the new books displayed in the shops reflect this preoccupation. Our civilization apparently has become divorced from the universe and is feeding on itself. Well, that's pretty strong medicine, and you may not want to read that, but he's mostly talking about ornithology. But he's laying down his cards a little bit, and maybe, but just within the last week, I read something. Now, I've got it written somewhere where I read that to give to you. I got it on www.travelandleisure.com. Now, here's what it said. Remember, Mount Vernon overlooks the Potomac. And the Potomac River ranks #1 as most endangered rivers in the U.S. Running through Washington, D.C., according to a new report from nonprofit group American Rivers, that is due to a rapid, unchecked surge of data centers near the river, which threatens even our drinking water, the area drinking water. Yes, I've heard about the draw that the data centers require water, and I'm thinking, yes, Washington, D.C., every kind of things on records, and whoa. In addition, the report noted, quote, a historic sewage spill raises alarms about aging infrastructure. And yes, I've heard about this in various places. Underground sewage things in Phoenix. And so on the Potomac spans 400 miles. And at one point, it's 11 miles wide. #2 is the San Joaquin River in California. Well, all 10 of them are listed in www.travelandleisure.com. So, whoa. I guess maybe he was recognizing that things are being stressed. Well, I hope I haven't stressed you out. I want to continue with George Washington and a wonderful book about his youth and some things, and then do some things on Lincoln and all. So until next time, bye for now.